Awesome. Yeah, the recording it tells you about when you first come on is the fact that it takes notes for me.
Okay.
So I will go in and I will transcribe out all of those questions that I asked, so I don't have to type them in from my reading, from my own writing. Okay. Welcome, Yvonne. It's really good to see you.
Thank you.
And especially with the beautiful view of Kilimanjaro behind you. It's an incredible view, and I can still see the giraffe poking out over your shoulder, which I loved. So, yeah. So today I want to start with that thing we were just talking briefly before we started, Liz, about we can't actually believe what our brain tells us. And what I want to do is I want to share something with you, and I want you to then describe to me what you see going on. So let me just share something here. If it lets me come up with it. There we go. This one. Okay. Share. Let's do slideshow. Current slide. Now, are you seeing the picture on the screen? Yeah, cool. Somebody willing to tell me what they're noticing with this image? Because there's some really weird stuff. My brain sees some weird stuff going on here.
So my first thing was how many legs?
Yeah. Okay. Why is that? I wonder what's going on there. Yeah, our brain is going, hang on, this is a bit confusing. There was another beautiful image that I just couldn't get onto the screen, unfortunately, which was some blobs, which our brain can't make any sense of at all. And then you show it an image, which is what created from the blobs, which is actually a wasp. And then you look back at the blobs and you can't unsee the wasp.
Mm-hmm.
With this, you can't unsee the fact that one minute you see like the legs are in weird positions because one's in front of the trunk and that doesn't make sense. And then the next minute the legs are in a different place and your brain's going, hang on a minute, what's going on here? So your brain is predicting there's an elephant here. It should have 4 legs because it knows what an elephant looks like. So it's creating it. And then it's going, but where are those legs? What's going on? So here's some evidence that we can't believe our brain because it's confused and it can't get the message. And we can train our brain. We can say, no, this elephant has 4 legs, and we can make ourselves only see 4 legs. We can make it happen, and we can make them be where we want them to be. And we can train that. And so in that very first call, I talked about the belief goggles. And that's essentially what we've done with our goggles. We've trained our brain to see things that resemble what we think it should resemble. We're constantly looking through the goggles because our brain goes, yeah, I know what happens here. I know that when this thing happens, I get really het up. When I don't know something that I can't find the answer to, this is me speaking. If I can't decide, oh, it's going to go this way or it's going to go that way, and I really don't know, and they're polar opposites, then I can get anxious. I know that that's what happens, so I'm going to trigger those feelings of anxiety. And this isn't conscious thinking. This is the brain doing exactly what it's doing with the elephant. It's going, I know what that should look like, so I'm going to create it that way. The thing is, we know this picture's been drawn to confuse us. So we can see legs all over the place. And essentially that's what our brain is doing, but it's doing it from a place of, this is safe. This is how I keep you safe. Because actually your brain's just inside a skull. It's inside bone. It has no access to the outside. It itself doesn't see the outside. Its only way of connecting with the outside is through the sensors that we put the information in. So it makes up the picture. And it says, I know. Now the thing is, most of the structure of our goggles was created by the age of 7. And then it's just being refined. Where's the evidence for that? And we just refine it and we just refine it unless we challenge it. So the question is then, we're looking through the eyes of a 7-year-old. We're seeing ourselves and we're understanding the world through the eyes of a 7-year-old. That helps us understand this thing that we have, which is, guys, it's this or it's that. Because a 7-year-old or under 7, we kind of like to know, is it true or not? Is this right? I saw that. Bloom. I saw you. So let's remove this from the screen. I wanted to point to this idea as we move through the next 2 sessions, that perhaps what we think is true about ourselves and about the world we live in is just our 7-year-old's goggles with some slight tinkering around the edges, looking out at the world. And when we take them off and we look with the eyes of the adult that we are, what do we see? What's more possible? So that's the invitation to you today. So, because I love questions, you know I do. I've just got to stop something on my screen so I can see what I'm doing here. Because I love questions, guess what? I've got some more. So if you have your pen and paper ready, that is beautiful. Because I want to ask some questions around what you think leadership is. The whole way through, I've been talking about self-leadership. So let's just check in. So I've got a handful of questions here, and I want you to jot down the answers, and then we'll discuss where we get to. The first one is, what does the word leadership create for you? When you've kind of come up with that, I want you to take it a little bit further. So if that's what that word creates, what do you see as the actions of a leader? What does a leader do? When you've done that, expand that into, so how does what leadership means, the actions of a leader, how does that translate into you leading yourself? What does that look like? Catherine, you spoke, but I couldn't hear you. Did you mean to have your speaker on?
No, I didn't.
Ah, okay, that's no problem.
I can't work out how to turn it off either.
I can mute you. I'll do that. Okay. And the there's two questions. The next two questions are linked, and these are the final two questions for now on this particular area. So when you've identified what it means for you as a leader, where are the opportunities? When you're leading yourself, where are the opportunities that come up? And at the same time, my suggestion is you might be hearing some things that are not feeling quite as clear, a little bit incongruous, maybe as things that you can't shift. What are those? Quite challenging question, perhaps the last one, particularly for this time of night for each of us. I was up ridiculously early to get to London today as well. So my brain is going, why have I asked such difficult questions? But I'm curious, what's coming up? Let's have a look at that first question. What does the word leadership create for you? Anybody want to go first? Go on then, Wolfgang.
Jane, these are fantastic questions, and they were difficult in a wonderful way, because I don't think I've quite asked these questions to myself before, especially in this way. So I don't even know if I fully understood that first question you asked, because I went back to it after you asked the second question, because I said,
yeah.
So what is leadership?
Lord.
Yes, Antonio, I've asked a handful of questions here, and,
All
and
right.
as
Yes, think of me as, yeah, go on.
it's all right. So the first question was, what does the word leadership create for you? And that's what Wolfgang's trying to answer at the moment.
Yeah, Antonio, and I was just saying, I've never asked the question, what does leadership create for me? Because I was like, what does that
Jane
even
has
mean?
She has a
Create
funny
for me.
way of asking questions, but they actually make sense in the end, because I struggle with this as well. But actually, the right questions to ask in the end, I
Yeah.
found. Do you want me to? Joy. There you go.
It creates joy for you. I love that as an answer. Yes, Wolfgang, you were saying.
Yeah. So the way I heard that question is like, what does it create for me? It creates a calling. So there's something about relationship that has a gravitational pull for me. And it's not just that I'm attracted to leadership. It's like leadership in itself is almost like it's like an invitation. to be, it's like an invitation to be your fullest self. So I said it's a call to hear the full message of my potential and to hear the most honest voice that I have, the most honest version of myself, and to be the most aligned with myself and the most connected with other people.
Beautiful. And there's so much in that I resonate with as well. The first word that I created in my head when I asked myself this question was opportunity. Because everything that you've then described flows from that, and with Antonia pointing at joy. And the reason I asked the question the way I did, what does the word leadership create for you? Because if I said, what does the word leadership mean to you? You'd give me a definition. Or you'd describe a leader. That's not what I asked. I wanted to know that creation. And when we talk about creation, we go deeper inside ourselves. Hence the language. Anybody else want to share what came up for them with that question? Yes, Bloom, awesome.
Right. I treated this like a puzzle poem, you know,
Oh, I love that.
listening for the answers. So for me, it was a vision, a purpose, connection, community, authenticity.
Wow. A vision. I love that. A vision and a purpose, which takes us back to where we started. And you can see how there's a flow in what we're talking about. I love that. And how a vision and, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
How a vision and purpose different?
That's a beautiful question. Well, I think the vision arrives and the purpose is surrendering to the vision.
Wow. Yeah. That I see as a really whole way of describing it, because you know when you do leadership, there's these things and they say you need to have a vision, you need to have a purpose, and it can feel quite separate, but I love how the vision arises and the purpose is surrendering to the vision. Because my imagery for a vision is the top of a mountain. I'm going to the top of that mountain. That's where I'm going to arrive. And the purpose is coming from that to take that first step, to choose a path, the first path, and to surrender to the challenges along the way that come with climbing a mountain. Because guess what? They're never easy. And that's why it's a mountain, because there's a beauty of the vision that there's that crystal, especially when there's a nice blue sky, the incredible vista you get at the top of a mountain that you wouldn't see anywhere else draws you in. Hence, I love the Kilimanjaro image behind Yvonne. But you know, there's a beauty of imagining what the world looks like from this place, and that's kind of that imagining what the world looks like from this place is kind of like, who am I? Who am I at this point? And then being that person to get there, which is beautiful. I'm curious what people have come up with as actions of a leader. What are the actions of a leader? Because this might tie more closely into what you thought the first question was. Liz? You've come off, so I thought I'd ask.
No, yes, okay, no. So that's the third part of the
What's the second question? What do you see as the actions of a leader?
Okay, so I was quite clinical. I wasn't quite as, I didn't quite say it as beautifully, but it was like that you make wise decisions, that there's a wisdom there, but you also take responsibility. So you've got to answer in some respects, and it might be quite uncomfortable. You know, it's not about comfort, because walking on a journey, you know, you're going to get blisters, but if you're going to see that view, perhaps like just using, you know, you're going to have to, I mean, I don't mean you have to suffer a bit, but I kind of do, and almost to put yourself, and so you've got consequences of the decision, but don't hide, and I've put the sort of don't hide your light under a bushel is what somebody's said to me before, that that in the effort to sort of to not put myself forward and lead and put myself in an uncomfortable position, unless somebody like you is asking me right now, I would just sort of I wouldn't tell my truth. So
wow. So you'd hide your truth from yourself?
Absolutely, 100%. But to shine and be regarded as a an expert in yourself.
Wow.
Is
wow, an expert in yourself. Okay. Can I take you back to something you said right at the start?
Yeah.
And that was being accountable for your actions. Yeah. And those who've been coached with me will know that I will often highlight and shine a light on where the idea that responsibility sits outside of us comes up. And I talk about the idea that I'd love to take the word blame out of the dictionary. For two reasons. Blame is unhelpful. It doesn't move us forwards. It keeps us in the same space. But also it gives us an excuse. Because when we put it outside, we don't have to hold ourselves accountable. So what does holding yourself accountable look like?
That's a
Can you give an example of where you might hold yourself accountable as a leader, as opposed to self-leading, but
okay.
as a leader? Just to keep it simple.
Well, it can be a good accountability, because you can have had an amazingly fantastic event at the museum, for example, and decisions that you've made that have given people a sense of security, and which may not have been made if you weren't there, are then what made the event successful.
And would you shine a light on that success? Would you hold yourself?
No, I would tell
esteem for that.
I'd say it was a team effort.
Okay.
Always.
And there is truth in it being a team effort, but you said that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've left places and people have said that the atmosphere's changed and it's not as nice a place to work when I've not been there. And that's not bigging myself up.
That's owning who you are.
You know, and I've sort of thought, oh, right, well, I've never even thought that that would be a consequence of me leaving.
Okay.
But
can I ask you another question?
Of course.
Is it possible that going forwards you can own the beauty that you create?
But I try and share it so that
that's not what I said. You just dodged the question.
I did dodge. I always dodge that question because I like sort of being second in command and sharing it so that.
Can I ask another question then?
So,
is it possible to do both? To share with the team and shine a light on yourself?
Possibly. I mean, yes, of course, Jane, it is, yeah.
Okay.
But
can I give you an invitation?
Mm-hmm.
The next opportunity that arises, can you perhaps notice and shine some light on yourself as well as the team?
Yeah, I have done that recently, and because I didn't speak up, so thank you. People were surprised; they didn't realise it was me that had done it. So,
And if you don't tell them, that's what happens. Yeah?
Yeah.
Own your brilliance. Nobody else is going to own it for you. You have to own it for yourself.
Thanks, Jane.
No worries. Yvonne, can I ask you the third question? Is that okay?
Yes.
So the third question was, how does what we've just talked about apply to self-leadership? What does it look like when we take leadership and look at ourselves and lead ourselves?
Gorgeous. Lovely.
The third question was, where are the opportunities?
No, that was
Right,
the
right.
fourth question.
Oh,
So the only reason I know is I'm looking at it. The third question was,
Huh?
so the first question was, what does the word leadership create? The second was, what do you see as actions of a leader? And the third question, which is where we're following next, is how does this, what we've just talked about, the word leadership and the actions, apply to you leading yourself?
how does leadership apply to me leading myself? I
Yes.
think it all boils down to accountability, being accountable. And then if, according to me, a leader should be confident. And that means I have to be confident in everything that I do, in what I say. A leader has also to be trustworthy, because you cannot have a leader whom you can't trust. For instance, when you're working somewhere and then this is a person that you have to go to when you have issues, and you trust them with anything and everything that you are going to share with them. So it comes down to me trusting myself, trusting my decisions, trusting the reasons. If I'm making a decision, I have to trust my intuition that I'm doing the right thing. So it is holding yourself accountable, being trustworthy, and also being confident. I mean, I'm confident is a big thing, because if you're not confident, then it's going to show to people around you.
Is it possible to come from confidence? I loved what you said about trusting yourself. And I'd like to go back to that invitation in the first conversation we had, which you weren't here, Yvonne, but I have sent you the videos, which was, what does it look like to unconditionally love yourself? And I think if we unconditionally love ourselves, we trust ourselves. And because we're unconditionally loving ourselves, confidence happens as a result of that.
Sure.
Because we're loving ourselves unconditionally. There is no conditions on this. I'm not loving myself only if I'm successful. I'm not loving myself only if I make the right decisions. I'm not loving myself only if I always do what I say I'm going to do for myself. We're just loving ourselves. We're not judging ourselves. And so I think there's a beauty in that these things follow because we are unconditionally loving ourselves. And there's that invitation to unconditionally love ourselves. And from that place, the thing you said about following the decisions and being accountable for the actions you take, beautiful. I love that. And in tomorrow's session, we're going to look a little bit at the idea of honoring your word to yourself, which is that trusting yourself. But it's honoring, not doing, not being. And there's a very real reason for that. And I'll explore that again tomorrow. So that was the third question. And the fourth question, and this is open again. So if we're applying these ideas of leadership to ourselves, where are the opportunities for us? What comes up for us? What's possible when we're leading ourselves? Anybody wanting to share on this one?
Repeat that, Jane. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. The question was,
control.
if we are leading ourselves,
Yeah.
and we're stepping into the idea that we can hold ourselves accountable, we can trust ourselves, we're going to move forwards, be accountable for our actions, have a vision, have a purpose, all of those things that we've talked about.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but those are all the things that have come up in our conversation about leadership. Yeah. What are the opportunities? Where are the opportunities? What springs to mind as an opportunity or a possibility when that's the case?
Well, it doesn't have to be work, does it? It can be almost anywhere, can't it?
Yeah.
You can do this across all of the things that you're involved in or doing for yourself. You could lead yourself, Catherine, not that she's got a camera on, in swimming.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing, isn't it? So it's not as delineated as you think it might be. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I'm going to use big words. Do that.
Okay. It's the barrister in you. The big words come out.
A day.
Oh dear. Okay. Sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's all fine. It's all good. Does that help at all? Does it help anybody to think about what they do?
I mean, yeah, this idea of self-leadership applies to every, you are absolutely right, it applies to every element of our life. So there are things that we perhaps thought were fixed about us, and we're going to explore that a little bit. So there's an opportunity here, isn't there? Oh, okay, I'm going to lead myself. I don't want that anymore. I'm going to change it. That's an opportunity. Yeah. Are people seeing that as an opportunity? Is there space here to literally decide whatever and go for it? Because you're leading yourself. Voz.
Yeah, and just to continue on what Antonio was saying, is just the other opportunity is to stop worrying about all the other things that are not yourself.
Yes. Beautiful. Good spot. Good catch. I like that. Because.
Have a point.
Oh, yes, Yvonne. Yeah.
Another opportunity, according to me, is that you're able to overcome the imposter syndrome when you lead yourself.
Yes. Beautiful. Yes. Because you know that you're leading yourself and you're going in that direction. So imposter doesn't apply because you're just leading yourself. You're not doing anything other than leading yourself. I love it. Great spot. Great spot. And some other things can fall away too, can't they? If we see ourselves as highly anxious, that can fall away. There are so many things about ourselves that can fall away when we just decide that we're leading ourselves. Oh, I'm going this way. Off I go. I'm going to be this person. Okay, off I go. It's kind of like just a decision. This is me. And you do it. It's a creation. But everything that we see, everything that we feel, everything that we think, everything that we do is a creation. So why don't we just create it how we want it to be? That's a beautiful opportunity. I love that. The next question was really trying to get you to identify where you think this isn't possible. So where are the sticking points? What came up for you as a sticking point when you thought about this? Beautiful if nothing came up, but I would be surprised if nothing came up. Voz.
Well, yeah, I think it's more beautiful that I noticed that less came up, because I used to have a pretty consistent answer for that question, and it was with my family. That's where I was most reactive and didn't see the possibility of taking accountability, because I had those stories about how I felt certain ways or acted certain ways because of them were really deeply ingrained. So
Yeah. Good spot. Yeah,
so I'm happy that didn't show up on my list.
Yeah. And that's shifted because of the action you took. You led yourself in that direction. You chose something different. And because you chose it, it was created. I love that. Liz.
We mentioned it last time and it was really practical, but finances.
Yeah.
It's stuck somewhere because, you know, the pension is there and you daren't change. And it's so boring and it's so practical and it sort of cuts down all your creativity. And I think
and it's possible to hand in your notice and walk out. Yeah, that's what I've done. So
yeah, exactly. And then you're doing something like this, which is,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
just full of joy. I can see that.
And what is stopping you there is the fear of what happens if.
Yeah.
Which is a genuine thing. Our brains are created to be fear averse.
Yeah. We're frightened of the maths. We're frightened of the financial mathematics.
Yeah.
And I know that,
Yes.
I mean, it's constantly, you know, coming up with work, because you get, oh, Essex pension scheme. This is what you can have if you leave now. This is what you get if you leave when you're 67. And it's constantly like, as a, you know, physical reminder, because there's a letter still comes through the door about it. And it's awful.
And you know, I'm living proof of this, as I know others are, of this idea that, I mean, I know just in Suffolk, so many heads have literally handed in their notice and walked out, and are now doing something different.
Yeah.
And so many teachers leave the teaching profession and go into something different.
But it's one of the funny things, like in the family, like we've never been on a cruise. I don't think I particularly want to go on a cruise. But my husband says, oh, when you retire, you know, when you're 67, we can go on a cruise. You're like, oh, don't.
Do you know what? That sounds to me like you're putting off life. You're putting off living until.
Yeah, that's
so
you know.
Almost this invitation to self-lead is, oh, I can live now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a smile there with that idea of you can live now. I saw it just land. That was beautiful. I saw how it just landed, this idea that you can live now. And which we programmed, and what's the worst that can happen? That's kind of what we're programmed. And actually, sometimes what the worst can happen is actually, all right, I don't have any money, and then I can create some more. Yeah, it's not, no answer to that question is finite. No answer to that question stays stuck at that question, because there's always a possibility that it can shift. There's my son, who is in his mid-30s, has tried one career, gone, oh, actually, that's not earning me enough money, left that one. Well, actually, he's tried university, decided that wasn't quite what he wanted to do, left that, tried one career, left that, tried another career, left that. In both occasions when both occasions when he left, he didn't have anything else to go to at that point. He then created it. And now he's created his own business. And he's in his mid-30s. And he has a young daughter and a family, you know, a wife. And there's a huge risk in that. And he's never been happier.
Okay.
So really what I'm pointing to here is risk, reward, opportunity, possibility. So rather than what if I do, what, you know, worrying about what happens if you leave, the question could be, what if I don't?
I used to listen to a singer.
What am I missing if I don't?
I just used to listen to a singer, and she always said that if she leapt, the net would catch her. There would be something that would open up and catch her. And that was like her key sort of message.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you can always create the next thing. This didn't exist before I decided to create it. It wasn't there waiting for me. It's kind of like, oh, what shall I do? Oh, I did menopause for a bit. Oh, that's a bit dull now. So what can I do now? Yeah. It's just, what can you do? What if you fly? What if you take off? What if you soar? What if you go to the moon? What if you go to the end of the universe? What if? What then? Just leave you with that thought. So, I think that's pointing beautifully at something I just wanted to highlight, which is this idea of possibility, of growth, of expansion. And I've noticed recently that when I talk to people about growth, there's kind of different views on it. And so I kind of want you to explore for yourself, just thinking about it, not necessarily answering the question, but just noticing. When you talk about learning something new, when you talk about growing, when you talk about that idea of growth, does it look like you're filling a gap you don't currently have? I'm going to grow in this direction because I'm missing this. Or does it look like growing just for the hell of it? Because I can. And the reason I asked that question, and I want you to notice, is I started to realize that often when I talk to people who go, yeah, I'm really into growth. I'm really into learning new stuff. I'm really into it. I then notice that what they're saying is because I currently don't have it. It's like they've got this map of themselves that's a big sphere and it's got chunks out of it. And when they're adding this stuff into it, they're just plugging the gaps. But that's not really what growth is. Because the brain isn't like waiting for you to plug the gaps together, connect some links that aren't already there. The brain can do whatever it wants. It can literally go anywhere. We can just train it to do so. So growth isn't plugging the gaps. Growth is like the universe. The universe continues to expand, not into anything. There's nothing it's expanding into. It's just getting bigger. That's what growth is. It's just getting bigger. Not going into anything, not plugging any gap, just growing. Because there's an opportunity there to do. And the brain can do that beautifully if we let it. And it brings us back to those thought goggles. Because if we're looking like this through our thought goggles, we're not noticing that there's a whole space available to us. So just taking the thought goggles off helps us realize there's more to see. And that more to see is in us. There's more we can see of us. Because it's there already. You're whole, you're complete, you're perfect. And there's more of you to see. And not only is there more of you to see, and there's more opportunity and more possibility, there's more to learn. There's different stuff to do. There's new opportunities. There's freedom everywhere. Because guess what? We just can make a choice and do it. Just like that. What then? So I invite you to notice. Are you growing like the universe? Or are you plugging gaps? Or are you somewhere in between? Growing to fill a space as opposed to growing into space, creating space. Where are you on that continuum? And it may be that in some areas of your life, you're the universe. And in other areas of your life, you're that sphere with gaps in it that you're plugging holes. So I invite you to notice, where do the holes show up? Where does the universe expand? Is there anybody wanting to share anything at this point? Bloom.
I love that as you were speaking all these beautiful words, that conjured up the image of a tree that all it needs to do is be a tree and grow. And it had me wonder, like, it's like we're expanding to our true size and we can limit ourselves with these goggles. And if we take them off, then it's like there is no gap. It's just like, oh, it's infinite. It's like it is the universe. And also I thought about, koi, those fishes.
Yeah.
Like they can stay really small if you keep them in a small container, but they can become huge and if they have the space. And that's, I don't know, that came to mind as well as you were talking. I saw that image.
That's a great analogy. That's a beautiful analogy of how we can limit ourselves. We can be a koi in a small space, or we can be a koi in a huge lake. And that's a choice. We're not like the koi. We're not waiting to be put in a lake from our small pond. We can just go, oh, do you know what? I'm going in a lake. Actually, fuck it. I'm going in the universe.
And become infinite koi.
I'll be that giant koi that's the size of, I don't know, multiple galaxies. Yeah. You know, that's the choice.
Timelines.
That's that self-leadership. It's an opportunity. It's a freedom. It's a freedom to be whoever you want to be. I think I actually, do you know what? I'm going to shift that a little bit. I'm not, this bit feels a bit limited, so I'm just going to drop that bit now, and I'm going to move here. That's also okay, because you've got all of it in you. It's just a choice. Be the universe. Be the tree that grows for the hell of it. Yeah. And the tree is always perfect. It's always a tree. Yeah. It doesn't have gaps. It doesn't get bigger and go, oh, now I'm a proper tree because I'm big. Nah, it's always a tree. It's never anything different. It's always a perfect tree. So be a tree in the universe. Be a tree that has the space of the universe to fill and all the resources it needs to create that. Be that tree. Okay. So I want to ask some more questions around exploring your leadership. Now we've explored the opportunities it creates, because I want you to start to see what stops you leading yourself. So these questions, and I may not ask all of them, are really to kind of highlight and shine a light on some specific things. So the first question is this: where have you experienced a desire to achieve something and stopped yourself? And associated with that, what stopped you? The next question is kind of the flip of that. Where have you experienced desire to achieve something or create an outcome or an action and been incredibly successful? And in answering that third question, what made it successful? What created it as successful? And the last question is, what do you notice is coming up when you look at your answers to the last 4 questions? What can you see? And it's the last question that I asked that I'm curious to explore. What have you noticed in your answer? Anyone want to go first? Go on, Bloom. Thank you.
Yeah, it's shoulds that stop. It's and it's surrender, or the path of the heart, or not doing that leads to infinite creative playful freedom. And it's in the ease, the joy, the flow, playfulness, curiosity.
Yeah. Playfulness and curiosity. What do those words mean for you?
That I listen rather than force my will upon it. That I am an instrument rather than, the one that has to create. It's more fun like that.
It sounds to me like you're in that free thinking state rather than that process thinking state. That you're allowing yourself to hear the answers, if you like, and next steps, rather than trying to problem solve them. And I notice this in myself, a tendency to use the problem solving thinking to be a creative tool. And that doesn't work because it's the wrong thinking. But we're so addicted to our problem solving thinking that we try and use it for everything. And it just doesn't show up. So playful curiosity, freedom. I love what you're pointing to there. And without those, there's a break. Is that what you're saying? There's kind of a stop coming in.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's a really good way of stopping myself. It's like, self-judgment before something is even created, having expectations of myself, telling myself I should, have to, must do something. I'm trying to trick myself into those things by committing to things like so that then I must do them, and it's not working.
It sounds like the commitment comes with reluctance.
Well, it's when there is like that free commitment of something that just wants to be created through me, then it's really easy to commit and the stuff gets done. When it's a should commitment, or I should be doing this, so maybe if I trick myself into saying yes, then I will feel forced to be my word, and that's a really good creativity killer.
Yeah, I can see that, because there's a real sort of drain on the energy, isn't there, at that
Yeah.
space? Yeah. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you for your contribution there. What's showing up for anybody else? Voz.
And I noticed I'm really curious about what you said, how the universe doesn't really expand into anything. So like my brain doesn't understand that, but I know this isn't a cosmology webinar. So you and I
However,
can
most people's brains don't get that.
you and I
It's
can have that.
literally just getting bigger.
We
If you
can have that
imagine you're a
separate
fly
conversation.
on the surface of a balloon, yeah, and all your experience is the surface of the balloon, and then somebody blows the balloon up,
Mm.
all of a sudden that surface has got bigger. That's kind of what the universe is doing. Yeah. The universe is the balloon.
So the other thing I noticed was I really was I became curious at your question about success, and in particular, you and I have talked about like using acknowledgements as an exploratory game. And I think it fits so well with this concept of expansion, because I think I shared with you, I was doing a set of acknowledgements as kind of an exercise last week, and it took me back into kind of my career trajectory, and so much of which my orientation to what I had created had shifted. So I started noticing things that I had either overlooked or dismissed, or I had attributed to just kind of happen chance, you know? And so taking ownership of the things that I've created, like Liz so beautifully shared about this kind of paradox of like, how do I own myself fully and share, and give other people permission to own the beautiful things that they've created? Because I think that's a human thing, where it's like people, you know, there's some resistance against taking full ownership. So that also has to do with seeing your successes from love, and not from a place of it's filling in a gap or it means anything else. It's really just seeing the full universe that's already you. So there's like a little bit of reparenting and reloving the self that's happening in that process of
Beautiful.
bringing those successes into the moment and loving them. Yeah.
A great leader notices and shines a light on the successes of others and the achievements of others. So if we're leading ourselves, as you talk about there, the acknowledgements, shining a light on our own successes and achievements is exactly that. We're being a great leader to ourselves, because a great leader comes from that place of love, not that place of judgment. Comes from that place of curiosity, not condemning, not constraining. They're curious. They're not labeling. They're simply being curious. That's what a good leader does. When we do that for ourselves, then we can look at ourselves through that lens of, oh, look, there's something pretty amazing that I achieved here. Yes, there were other people here too, and they helped this be amazing, but I did this. And that's not, and a lot of us have got this negative thinking about that idea that we can shine a light on ourselves and go, hey, look at me, I did this thing that's amazing. Because we're told it's bragging. Hey, don't get too big for your boots.
Yeah.
Yeah? How dare you brag about that? What, you know, keep quiet. Be quiet. We've had that a lot. And then there's those of us who've never heard anything positive. And so when we get the positive, we're kind of like, no, that's not what I want. Can you give me some more negative? Because that's where I'm comfortable. You know? And so we get really uncomfortable at hearing what we're not used to hearing. So what you're doing, Voz, of creating pages and pages of self-acknowledgement, is you're allowing yourself to learn how to accept that you are beautiful and that you create amazing things. You're allowing yourself to accept it. You're training your brain to go, this is okay. It's not scary. It's not wrong. I'm not making it up. I'm just owning my creations. And that's beautiful. I love that. And it reminds me, I think this is a good time to share. I had a really fascinating conversation with somebody today, actually, around this idea that they'd said, I got called out at work for being amazing. I did this amazing thing and they called it out. And they called it out in front of all the staff. And I just wanted them to shut up.
Really?
Just go away. I don't want this. Will you please stop?
Really?
And that was exactly my reaction, really. What was uncomfortable about it?
Oh,
I don't want it. I want it to go away. Please don't do it.
I thought you were saying that. Sorry,
No,
misheard.
not me. Not me.
Seems
This was the person
surprising.
I was talking to, who was going, they just said this happened and I wanted it to stop.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted it to stop. It was so uncomfortable. Catherine's written something here. Sounds like doing a performance review, struggling to acknowledge yourself. Hey, Catherine, perhaps you should do the Vosgan activity and get an exercise book and just keep filling it with acknowledgements of self. And retrain yourself to be comfortable with knowing who you are and how great you are. Because I'll bet you could fill an exercise book with all the stuff that you think is negative. Because we find that easier. It's almost somehow more acceptable to admit to the failings. But that's just society. It's not true. It's not more acceptable. It's definitely more beneficial to notice and shine a light on what we do well, what we achieve, who we are, how we create ourselves to be, and actually from that place, how we create others to be, because we give that space to them as well, but we start with us. Anybody else want to share anything that came up in exploring those questions? Liz, you were nodding. I noticed when I talked about it's easier to be negative about self than positive. Was there something that came easier to you in these questions and some bits that came harder?
I mean, there's the old saying that comes up, you know, when you're doing a team activity, which is what we were talking about earlier, with there's no I in team, which is obviously an overused thing, but it gets ingrained, especially when you are part of quite a team where you actually can probably tell when somebody's period's about to start because you're that close. You know, it's that kind of team that we're talking about. So you work as a whole, but you take the negatives, but you, like we were saying before, you don't share the positives or you don't acknowledge it. So it's so much more comfortable to hear a bit of criticism than it is to hear a bit of praise.
Can that be? Well, I know it can. I ran a school for children who mostly only heard negative things before they got to me. So our first action was to help them learn to be comfortable with the fact that they weren't all negative. In fact, there was far more that was beautiful and wonderful and incredible about them than was negative. And for a long time, they rallied against it when they came. And they go, no, I'm going to be really horrible so you can tell me off again and you can shout at me. And when they didn't get that, it's like, no, I need to try harder because you're not giving me what I want.
Yeah.
And so this is just brain conditioning.
Yeah, so my son's like 24 and he will poke and poke and poke just so that he can start an argument and feel that, like, he almost finds the joy in the banter and the you know, he's getting his kicks from winding me up, which I'm sure is, and you know, and I'll say to him, I'm a really good mom, I've done this for you. and it doesn't wash now. He's sort of that age. He's like, you know, and I do night shifts.
Wow.
So it's like, okay. But you really couldn't have been doing night shifts in the job you do if I hadn't done all of that, reading all those stories and getting you extra tuition and, you know, and really nurturing you. And when you were really down, you know, sort of, you know, beefing you up and always having a laugh that you don't have to have birthday cake just on birthdays, and, you know, and all the things that you do to try and bring your kids up. So, you know.
And there's something beautiful in the desire for connection that is perhaps coming from the prodding. So we get into this habit, and I just want to point to this. We get into this habit of trying to get the feedback we want from other people. We all do it. It's a human thing. It's called eliciting the strokes that we want in transactional analysis theory, which is stroke theory, and stroke being a transaction of communication. Like it might be, I want a smile from you, so I'm going to prod you until you smile. Yeah, that's a transaction. And I noticed in myself one of the things that pointed to that I was coming from a place of lack was that I would prod for positive reward. Please tell me I'm wonderful, but put myself out there, almost saying the opposite of that. Please tell me the opposite to what I've just said. Please reassure me. And so we create these transactions to give ourselves the feedback that we want. And what I'm pointing to here is notice when that's at play. And notice that what is actually being sought in more often than not is that we have presence with that person, that we are there with them, that we are connected to them, that we are listening deeply. And when that is absent, there's a way of prodding for it. So we've explored quite a lot here in the idea of what becomes possible when we're leading ourselves. And we've looked at this idea of where we already do this really, really well, and where perhaps we struggle with it. And this doesn't mean that if I'm doing all of this stuff really well and I've got these things that I'm not doing very well, then I'm not doing that very well, and that means that I need to try harder. Because there's this thing, you see. The thing is that we're all human. And there's this thing about being human, which is we do human things, like beat ourselves up. It's just because we're human. The invitation here is to notice when it's happening. Notice when you step into that I'm not good enough, the deficit model, the coming from lack. Notice when you step into, well, that's not me. I can't do that. Or notice when you step into, I'm too nervous to do that. Or I haven't got enough confidence to do that. Or something like that will make me really anxious. Notice when you're creating, because it is a creation. Notice when you're creating a reason why you can't. Because guess where that creation's coming from? It's coming from your thinking. It's not true. It's not real. It doesn't exist. Just like 5 minutes ago isn't now real. It's 5 minutes ago. It's just a creation in your head. And 5 minutes from now isn't real. It's just a creation in your head. That barrier you're creating isn't real. It's built on what has previously happened. It's not true.
It's weird.
What was that?
No, it's just weird. I was thinking when you were talking, you know, I can multitask. You know I do. She knows I do. I was just doing my vision board. Don't know why. Very odd. You were inspiring me to write it all down in visual represent. It's very different to the last one I did. That's all I was thinking. Very different.
Wow. What shifted? Do you mind me asking?
I think it's quieter. It's more calm. It's much more peaceful because I've gone through that journey of the wanting to get there, the really needing to get there, and it feels like you're kind of there. So it's all much more centered around what's going to be. I'm much more comfortable with things that I wasn't, like putting a pound sign on it. Would never have done that before. It was all about big cars and the NBA and, you know, that kind of, let's go see the Dodgers. Not that now at all. Really different. It was useful exercise.
Does it feel more connected?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I still got Kevin on it though. I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah,
can't
but
be
Kevin
on
doesn't
the
go
dog.
anywhere, does he? He
Sorry.
stays with you.
Well, 2025, 26 vision board. Oh, I'm sorry about that. It was what you inspired me to do when you were talking. I thought I'd just do this.
No, that's cool. And I love the fact that you're talking about it shifting.
Massive shift. All pale and pinky. And houses, flowers.
Colours as well shift. Yeah.
Hey.
I'm just wondering what has shifted in the way you look at things that has moved it from that all action chaos of lots of different things in lots of different directions and all of those actions and all of those must do's, etc., to this much clearer picture.
I think having taken the steps that I needed to take to be who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're living from a space of this is me.
It feels very much like it. Yeah, it really does. And it's a me that you described to me 2.5 years ago. I went, no, it's stupid.
Yeah, you didn't think that was possible, did you?
No, not.
That is beautiful.
But it is.
Because it's because now you feel like it's you, whereas before you felt like it was this uncomfortable suit that somebody was trying to put on you.
Trying to get to somewhere, weren't you? You're just trying to get somewhere all the time, and it's ahead of you, and it's a push, and it's a struggle, and you're trying to articulate what that is. But actually, when you get there, you can just put it down in much more simple. But it's taken a long time.
If the you from 2.5 years ago was to hear something from you now, what would you tell it?
Listen to Jane. How about that? No, I'm serious. Well, listen, there's you and there's, you know.
I was going to say it's not just me, but what's one bit of thinking that you would notice that you are now that you always were that you didn't see that you were then?
A leader.
Cool. Yeah.
Thinking it. Still not quite sure why, but it's just kind of demonstrably true.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. No idea at all.
You're now denying the power that
No, I'm not. I'm saying that for me, I haven't articulated what I have to do to be that person. It just, you said it would just flow. And
yeah.
the way that
But I think the thing that I'm hearing you say is very clearly you are a leader.
Yeah. Oh,
don't worry about this stuff. Don't hide from it.
Yeah.
Don't think it's not possible. Don't go into overdoing stuff. You are a leader. Live it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it, is it do what you want to do and you become that, and it just happens. It seems to just happen. It happens to other people as well. It's not just me. I know that.
This is that thing. We can be the person we want to be because it was already there. We just didn't see it.
Sorry to hijack 5 minutes. I apologize. I should shut down.
That's absolutely okay. So I've got a few things here and I'm not sure which direction to go just now. Just yeah. There's another thing I want to uncover. And that is the what next bit for you. So a couple of questions here. What are you carrying around in your thinking that has kept you safe for a long time, but is now getting in the way? And there might be a bit in there about how do you know it's getting in the way? What are you noticing? But what is it that's there that's just getting in the way now? You want it, you're over it, you want it gone.
Can I go first?
Yes, of course.
So for me, I would say patience. Because sometimes you feel like you really need that patience. And then it reaches a point whereby you feel like it is not paying off. So it's a delicate balance between knowing when to quit waiting or being patient or just moving, because you don't know if this patience is kind of a block, is blocking you. Sometimes you might be patient waiting for something, and what if it doesn't come to pass? What if? So there's that delicate balance between knowing when to quit waiting and when to kind of being patient and just moving.
Can I?
And then what if I'm patient and it doesn't come to pass?
Okay. There's something that's occurring to me as you say that. Is it okay if I share that?
Yes.
Okay. The question that's occurring is this idea of patience just an excuse for staying stuck?
Mm.
Yeah.
And is there such a thing as actually needing to have patience in that situation? Is it more a case of noticing when it's allowing yourself to, oh yeah, this is now, I'm doing it now? No, because my question is, what would you be waiting for? It seems to me like you're waiting for somebody to go, hey, yeah. You're waiting for a sign that says, hey, yeah, let's do it now. Time is right now.
I think I'm trying to think of it in this manner. For instance, maybe you're doing something, or you're trying to, career-wise, you're trying to pivot yourself to maybe a different profession, and you feel like this is where your heart is. If you know you really want to do this, but then sometimes they say, just be patient, keep persevering, keep going. But the more you are being patient, it's not that you're just sitting waiting for it to come. You're trying to push yourself, and then you don't see results, and you're like, I really need to be patient. I can't give up now. So I don't know how you're going to break it in such a way that how long, or how can I quantify this patience? Is it too much? How can I let go?
I'm wondering whether you can look at it from a different point of view. And that different point of view might be come from a place where you're being the change you want to create. So, and I'll give you an example. Each promotion I got as in education came after I was already doing the job, just not being paid for it. So I was already being the change I wanted to create. And then that was noticed. It was like, oh, actually, do you know what? This person knows what they're doing. Let's give them that job they've just applied for. Yeah. And the thing is, without being the change you want to create and coming from a place that says, this is what I'm creating, it doesn't happen. You're always waiting for the time to be right, to be the change. Well, just be it anyway. That's an invitation, really. Can you be the change you want to create? Despite everything else that seems to be going on around you, just be the change and see what happens then. That's just an invitation. Because what I notice is we can wait. And we can wait for a sign that says, hey, now is the right time. And we can wait, and we can wait, and we can wait, and we can wait. And guess what? We haven't created the space for the sign to come up. So it doesn't come. Anybody else want to share what came up for them when I asked that question? What are you carrying around in your thinking that has kept you safe and is now in the way? Any change you want?
I'm still carrying around some garbage, and it is garbage, excuse my language, from things that people have said to you in your previous times. And as much as you know it's nonsense, as much as you think, well, if they said to somebody else, I'd have no respect for what you say, it still lives quite deep inside of you, doesn't it? Even when you were like 12 or 14 or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And it was some daft, excuse my language, Jane, daft teacher, you think, and you know in your heart that it was just them and not you. It's still kind of that scar, and it still holds you back. And this week I'm trying to get rid of Mrs. Baker, she was called. If you're out there, Mrs. Baker, I'm coming for you.
I had an English teacher who told the class to laugh at me, because if they laughed at me properly and really, really laughed hard, I might read the words on the right line instead of the ones on the wrong line.
Oh, I've got you.
The fact that I'm dyslexic never came into it, you know?
No, I might be just about average, apparently, if I work really, really hard.
Oh, yeah,
Or
yeah.
average.
I was told,
What's wrong with
and
that anyway?
this is why I held this idea that I was not creative, was I was told that nothing that comes out of your mind makes any sense. It's like, fair enough. But
You could
yeah,
play all day.
but this is comes back to this whole thing about mind your language. Not just mind your language with others. Mind what you say to yourself. Because guess what? What you say is what you create. If you want something different, say something different. If you don't want the same thing, don't keep saying the same thing. Don't keep hiding behind that I am too scared. I am too anxious. I'm not good enough. I'm not a leader. I'm not. Stop hiding behind things that create limitation. Notice the language. Call it out. Because guess what? It's just language. And there's a beauty about language. We can use different words. It's just a creation. The biggest one for me was, I'm Marmite. And I didn't mean I'm Marmite as in Marmite is lovely. I meant Marmite as in people hate it. Lots of people hate it. Yeah, I'm too powerful a taste. I'm too, whatever it was. I'm basically Marmite. And I'd show up, and I did this. I did this on Domino. I showed up and said, I'm Marmite. Guess what? When I go out there saying people don't like me, what do I notice? People who don't connect with me. And I go from that place that says, they're not going to connect with me. So guess what happens? I don't talk to them. So they don't connect with me. Beautiful, eh? I'm creating the reality that I'm Marmite. But it's a creation. So I can create it as something else. Notice the language you use. Notice the things that you are creating. Notice the thinking that's in the way. How do you know it's in the way? How do you know when you're stuck in that thinking? What are you noticing when you're stuck in that thinking? What are the telltale signs? Because one of the best ways we can tell that we're stuck in this thinking is to be connected to our body. One of the first things a coach said to me was, can I stop you now, please? Can I just stop you in the moment? This is what they said. Because you're stuck in your thinking. You're trying to think your way out of a problem or into a problem, and all you're doing is thinking. What's your body telling you? Whoa, hang on a minute. I've spent all my time up here. What do you mean, what my body telling me? Oh, yeah, I can feel some stuff in my body. Wow, that's beautiful. That's letting me know. Because guess what feelings are about? They're beautiful indicators of whether you're stuck in your thinking or not, for starters. You're feeling that discomfort again? Yeah. Maybe you're feeling that irritation about how patient do I actually have to be? And you're getting that irritation because you're done with that thinking now. You want to ditch that thinking, so ditch it. Because ditching thinking is as simple as hanging on to thinking, in a sense. And it's friggin' difficult at the same time. So I have one last question, because I notice we have 3 minutes. That question is this, when I find it again. That's not the one. The question is, what is the one action you can take now to further your leadership of yourself, or to step into your leadership of yourself? What is the one action you can take now? So it's not a virtue, it's a tie. Absolutely. Yeah. I saw what you've written now, Liz, about patience. It can be beautiful and it can be a problem. It can be both. My invitation, once you've written the one action you can take now, is, did you go away and take that action? You don't have to, but it's an invitation. You want to do it, go do it. The freedom is there to do it. Nobody's there to stop you. The only thing that will is sticking your head in your thinking and getting caught in the noise. Thank you for your engagement today. It's been beautiful again. And thank you also for those listening who haven't been engaging in the conversation, but I hope you've taken a lot from listening and answering the questions for yourself and hearing what others have said and hearing that as if I'm talking to you. So thank you for being here. Anything that's coming up for anybody before I bring this to a close? Because I'm really mindful that we have 1 minute left. Thank you so much. Beautiful. We'll listen back, says Catherine. Awesome. I'll send you the video when it's downloaded. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll hopefully see as many of you tomorrow as I can. I know that Bloom and Voz probably busy tomorrow. But yeah, excellent. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where's my Zoom gone? End it. It's not ending it.
Thank
There we go.
you. Good night.
Hey, Liz,
Yeah.
I don't have a connection. I think it's on my Zoom, but I don't have one for to set up a conversation.
Oh, okay.
If you just wait a minute, what I'll do is I'll share you a link on the chat here,
Okay.
and then you can just book a call.
Yeah. That'd be
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you. I did
'Cause I
send my
couldn't-
email address last week.
Oh, pardon?
I did send my email when you
Yeah, for some reason I didn't get it, and I don't know why. I went back into the chat and couldn't see it. So if I send you a booking link instead, give you a booking link,
okay.
what you can do then is you can book in on my diary, because that way, there's the link. Just press on that, and it'll take you to a booking page, and it'll only show you when I'm available. So then you can just book in there, and then the conversation will happen.
That's really, really kind. Thank you.
No problem. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
You take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.